Welcome back, Sunday Ballers. This is your favorite podcast airing on the Sunday every single week, and we like to mess that around, but Sunday ball because who doesn't love some Sunday ball? This is your host Dom as well as your host Jake, and today we are going to be talking about the NCAA football transfer portal, something that has become such a big part of this sport in the last couple of years that was always talked about and was always frowned upon, but now because of the NIL era and because of the transfer portal era, it's bigger than ever. It's like NFL free agency. If anything, there's more guys at NFL free agency. We are so excited to talk to you about that today. But Jake, what are we going to be doing today for that?
So to be talking about that, we are going to start with our top 10 quarterbacks plus an honorable mention that transferred this offseason. And then we are also going to talk about p- players that are not quarterbacks, just to keep everything fair and equal, because quarterbacks do have a lot of impact. That's why we did want to separate the two. And a lot of this is based on our own subjective opinion. A lot of people have not done this yet, so we're excited to dive into this. This is kind of like undiscovered land, and we're hoping that a lot of people really
North
enjoy
territory.
this.
Very
Unlike,
excited. We were originally thinking a top 10, and there was so many guys that were, big quarterbacks we wanted to talk about, but also other guys. We're going to talk about edges, we're going to talk about wide receivers, linemen, secondary guys, a little bit of everything. And we're so excited for that because we get to talk about I have 22 guys that wrote down that I can't wait to talk about. Jake's gonna have some other guys to talk about. So
yeah,
we'll see what we have for intersection, who stepped up, who doesn't.
I
Who
had to
knows?
cut down, I had to
We'll
cut
see.
down my list. I have 40 guys I want to talk about, but due to not
It's
having
not bad.
premium.
That's what we're here for.
All right.
All right.
Yeah, so we're just going to alternate back and forth talking about our guys and which guys we think are going to have the most impact, whether that be shifting a team to from being like a losing record, similar to like most of the guys that we do have transferring are going to be transferring to
Yes.
Power Four.
Mhm.
And the way I base a lot of my guys is based on how I think if their play is really effective and efficient, they could be moving into from like a bottom team towards a top team this year based on quarterback play. And then for more like the positional guys, these are guys I just really like, and I think they are going to have impact on that team, but obviously not as much as the guy slinging the rock.
Yeah, that's fair. He's the
So,
captain. He's the head of the franchise. My list is similar to that. I tried to find a balance between pure impact this year and the difference you're going to make, and overall impact, the quality of these players. You'll see with a couple of those guys are going to be immediate starters. Some other guys, they might have to trickle into that role, but they're young enough and show enough potential where they could be a monumental player for the team and also could push themselves into being an NFL prospect. Some of these guys already are NFL prospects. And a lot of these guys we talk about have joined teams that are on the come up or teams that have bottomed out and now have to climb. I have an Oklahoma State guy here, as well as Jake probably has the same guy, and he joined his coach and his running back, and that team is on the rise. They had the worst record in all the Power Four last year, so there's only one direction up.
yeah, no, and talking about OK State, the Big 12 is very open. BYU is still, in my opinion, the best team right now because they really haven't lost too many guys. They got a lot of guys in the portal, but Texas Tech lost a ton of guys on the defensive side of the ball. I think they ended up losing close to 5 or 6 guys. And that does play a factor. They did lose their quarterback, which hopefully, depending on the situation, we'll see how that pans out.
They get a good quarterback in return, which I will be talking about later.
Yeah, so yeah, honestly, let's hop into this. So I will start with my honorable mention because I don't want to leave this guy off the list because I really liked what he did and I watched him in the bowl game look really good and honestly impressed me. I have Colton Joseph out of Old Dominion transferring to Wisconsin. And Wisconsin is one of those teams that has really had a few down years, but when me and Dom were growing up in like 2017-ish, like around that time, Wisco was consistently like at the top of the Big Ten East, and I know they're not broken into conferences as much, but let's say Wisconsin can push to like an 8-win season. That would put them in the top I'd probably say like top eight of the Big Ten, depending on how it goes. And that's a
Funny.
huge improvement from 3 wins last season. And this kid was great in the bowl game. He gave me a little bit of like a Deshaun Kaiser vibe to him, just based on a lot of his mobility and just pure athleticism. He's not the best at decision making. Accuracy could be improved, but I do think he is going to have an immediate impact on that Wisconsin team. Yeah,
Yeah,
that was probably one you didn't have on your list.
I did not. I passed over on him as much as I love Old Dominion. But yeah, you're right. Where Wisconsin needs somebody to move them forward, and a 3-win season for Wisconsin when you are perpetual, I'm not going to say contenders, but a perpetual top 20 team all throughout the 2010s. It's tough to see, and there's other teams that need that push, but who better to do it? I mean, I really do like the signing. He didn't make my list, I have to admit. He's probably somewhere around my 15 or so.
Yeah.
And I'll just hop right into my honorable mention. I'll keep it quick because this is a household name and maybe not for all the right reasons, but household nonetheless. And that is Dylan Raiola, transferring from Nebraska to Oregon. This is a quarterback who has been, I mean, you've heard the Mahomes comps, but it's not that he genuinely plays like Mahomes, it's that he tries to be Mahomes. It's a little almost tedious and can be annoying at times. But he is a talented quarterback and he can make throws that not a lot of players can make. I mean, he's a uniquely capable player and he does have a top level potential that some other guys don't have. But he stays off my list because he's, I mean, he's not going to start next season. Dante Moore's back. Dante is a top three projected pick, and I don't really see that going anywhere. He's not going to see the field next season unless there's an injury to Moore. And with that said, yes, after this season, if he decides to stick around Oregon, he could be their guy. And that can, I mean, we've seen what being an Oregon quarterback can do to a player's draft stock. I don't need to name guys, but transfers into Oregon the last few years have been drafted super high. We're all familiar with them. So he's one of those guys for me, and he doesn't reach my top 10 because of that. Everyone else is going to be a concrete starter in their team, and yes, there was other guys I could have picked that are going to be immediate starters, but as of now, I like him on my list. Just to mention another honorable mention, I thought that, and I won't talk about this guy for long at all, but Caden Hauser transferred from ECU to uh, he'll be at Illinois next season, and Illinois was a top 25 team for the start of the year last year. They kind of petered off at the end, but they are a very, very talented roster. They're coached well, and he is a type of quarterback that can bring up the floor. I mean, he was excellent at ECU last year. He threw for some of the most yards in the conference, some of the most yards in the country. So he's another guy that I think could make a difference. But who do you have in your number 10 spot? Let's start off this list.
So I was deciding between this guy and DJ Lagway. I like DJ Lagway, but I'm not sold on him. I really think the raw athletic talent's there, but it's just not enough to crack my list, and he would technically be another honorable mention. But the guy I want to talk about is Austin Simmons, coming off a gruesome injury that hindered his how much he could play. He was really like I really thought he was going to be the guy that was leading Ole Miss to the playoffs, not Trinidad. I did not do as much research as I should have on Trinidad last year, but I'm very high on that guy. And him transferring to Missouri, which their quarterback transferred out of Missouri, I think Missouri's in a similar position to not Wisconsin, but a similar position to a lot of these teams where they had a really good season last year, lost some guys, and the biggest thing is the SEC is very top heavy. So if they're one of those teams that could really slot themselves into a pretty nice spot in the top six of the SEC, that's very valuable. And like we
Sam
know,
Dillon season. Yeah,
yeah, we know SEC teams can make the playoff with being the sixth best team in that conference, which a shame. But
it's what it is.
yeah, there was talks about Vandy last year getting in. There was talks about Texas getting in, or Texas. Yeah, there's talks about Texas getting in, along with all the other teams that got in from the SEC.
That's what I
Um,
call
yeah, if you're really able to cement yourself as the sixth best team in there, and I really like how he plays. A left-handed quarterback is not always appealing, but Yeah, he has a nice arm. Mobility's decent, but I think he's a pocket pass first guy and really throws a nice ball.
Yeah, I like Simmons. I think Perbula is slightly better than him, and he makes my list instead of Simmons. But with that said, yeah, at my 10 would actually be, you know what? I've been switching around. This is a tough list because there's so many guys that I want to put, but my number 10 next year, because of the situation that he's transferring into rather than his talent, is Rocco Becht coming from Iowa State to Penn State. He kept the Cyclones at a pretty stable level. He's a very stable quarterback. He honestly reminds me a lot of Purdy from Iowa State. Similar type of build, similar type of guys. And he's transferring into Penn State, and Penn State is looking interesting because there hasn't been this much unsteadiness in the Penn State program since their bowl ban about 15 years ago. They've been on the rise ever since then, but with the departure of their head coach to Virginia Tech, and they got a guy I'm going to talk about in a little bit from Penn State, but they're very up in the air right now. But if there's a veteran quarterback, and it's tough to say veteran because we're talking about college football here, but bringing in a genuine multi-year starter that has all the experience under your belt that you need, bring in it's a little bit of a tongue twister, but Bo Perbula to Penn State. It's you hope that he's able to keep.
You're talking about Rocco.
Oh, yeah,
I just want to make sure.
I know. There's just garbage of the mouth, diarrhea of the mouth. But yes, I am talking about Rocco Beck.
They're very similar players. I have them next to each other,
They're
so
not that different. That's the problem. They're not, they're all kind of the same template, and they all kind of fall in for my 8 to 10 slot, as you guys will tell. And I've mentioned all three of them, so you can guess. It's up to you to decide the order. But yes, I do have Rocco Becht as my number 10. He has a chance to keep that Penn State program going in the right direction. Yes, last year was a down season, mainly because of the Alar injury, but not just because of that. And, with the firing of James Franklin, and they've just, I hope I like Penn State, and I hope that they can keep the trajectory going to not fall into the bottom of the Big Ten. I really don't think they're that low of a quality of roster. They still have the quality of recruits. So in my head, Rocco Becht can come in, bring some stability to the loose infrastructure that has put in place the last couple months, and be an effective starter at Penn State. And he does have the tools around him. There is still talented players there, even with the departure of Katron and the departure of some of their wide receivers. But I do like Rocco Becht, and he is my number 10 for next season.
all right. So I will hop into my number nine, and a big thing with this guy, I am very high on him, I'm very high on Sunbelt ball, so that's kind of where my head was at on this. I have Alonzo Barnett. Uh,
Really? I wanted to put him in there. I decided against it. Oh,
well,
God. He's in a
transfer.
QB comp. That's the only problem.
Yeah, I don't care. He was a
He's
dog
fast.
last year. I really love how he plays football. He's very mobile, but he doesn't need to use it. Great size on him, and transferring to UCF again, the Big 12 is a very open Wild West situation like it normally is. It doesn't have a leader like when Oklahoma was there. And it or like when Oklahoma had Baker and Kyler and Jalen Hurts when they were going 12-0 every season. It is wide open, and I think Texas Tech is going to hit a decline. I think BYU is going to be sitting about the same. I think Utah's going to hit a decline. I think and everyone else was in the top 20, top 25 in that area. So I think UCF does have a huge chance to creep up in there and really make a statement this year as one of the top teams in the Big 12. And that's kind of where my head was at when I was choosing these impacts. And this guy, out of all the guys that I'm listing here, he is the only guy to make aside from Sam Levitt, to make a college football playoff game.
Impressive.
It was not pretty to watch, but he was one of the few guys that
He was
made it.
there. It's impressive, it is. And I do like his fit at UCF. I'm tentative to put him on my list because of I don't know if they have the potential to. I don't know if I agree with you so much as I don't know if they can climb up into the top of that Big 12 just because of the gaps on their roster.
Yeah,
But he should. I mean, he's going to play a big part in it if they can. And either way, he's going to be their X factor next season.
yeah,
But if he does deliver, yeah, I could see it. And I really do like that pick, actually. I decided to take him off, but
yeah. No, it was just more based on impact because like next season really depends on his play. If he's able to compete and be one of the better quarterbacks in college football next season, I
Mhm.
really don't see why UCF can't be an 8-win team next season.
I like that. So my number nine is Ethan Grunkmeyer. I've kind of hinted at him. He's
Oh,
Penn State transfer to VT. Me and Jake saw him play this season uh, at the Pinstripe Bowl in New York
and
City
that's why
against
he is not
Clemson.
on and that's why he is not on my list.
It was a rough showing. It was cold out. Him and Cade both didn't. But hell, Cade was a you know what? Cade was the 110th pick this year. Can I really? I gotta show him some respect, I suppose. Not my pick personally, but I guess I kind of respect it. But yes, I really do like Grunkmeyer. There was talk about him being better than Alar pretty much the whole time he was there, and he's kind of sitting on this roster, just waiting away. I mean, that's what happened to Prabula when he was just sitting behind Alar as well. He left, and I think both of them are better than Alar, hands down, or at least have the potential to be if they were given the keys. And I really like him at VT, and this is more of a pick, less on him because I do like him, but more of a Hokie Rising pick. That they are sneaky next year. The
ACC
Hokie
is open too. The Big 12
Sneaky.
you're
They have
wide.
just as much of a chance as anyone in the ACC next year, and I can't wait for them to really show what they're made of because I love, I mean, to be honest, I love some Big East football. No ACC in my house. We love the Big East, and there's nothing that gets me excited like a good Virginia Tech game, especially against Syracuse, but I'll take a West Virginia game. I'm not too picky.
Yeah,
Oh, it's going to be
I
fun this season. They're
I
going to be back.
agree.
The tides
I
are turning. They had an excellent recruiting class. They had an excellent transfer class, flipping guys from Penn State left and right. I really love
yeah,
it.
they flipped a lot of the recruits too, which was
Franklin's
impressive.
you know what? Despite the hate Franklin gets, he has brought up the Penn State program to one of the elites. They've been viewed as a yet, despite them not getting a championship when they probably should have, their window closed. He brought them back into being a blue blood. They had
Yeah. No, and the
multiple
big thing with
multiple
their window
good.
closing was, I think, conference realignment, and I think that happened with
It
a
didn't
lot of
help
teams.
either.
Was yeah, conference realignment really like
Mhm.
Penn
Oh shit!
State
Now
was
you got
going
Oregon in the
from
top. Now you got Oregon.
the second best team in that second, third best team in that conference consistently every single year to being to be having to compete with USC, Oregon,
It's a
other teams,
disgustingly
even
tough conference.
Washington. Like there's
Yes.
much better competition in the Big Ten. So yeah, I'll move into my pick, and it's another guy that's transferring into the ACC. Prabula.
Over Beulah.
Hard to say, but yeah, no, I really like how he plays, and he actually gives me. I know he transferred from Penn State, but he gives me a very. He reminds me a lot of Trace McSorley. McSorley a
That's
lot.
crazy. I like that.
He reminds me of him, like
Yeah,
watching him
I can
play,
see it.
and a lot of the Penn State guys do. Like I could say the same about
Mhm.
Grunkemeyer, Aller, like all those guys, like
Yeah.
do give hints of that, just because it's so.
I see the
Anytime
mixing like there you go.
Yeah, anytime I see the Penn State quarterback, it's kind of in my mind. But yeah, no, I think this transfer is really going to help him develop even more because going from the SEC to where he was competitive and they did have a pretty good season, they put up a huge fight against Bama, which was very
Yeah,
impressive.
yeah, top 25 all season.
Yeah, and yeah, so him going to Virginia in the ACC, very similar to Grunkemeyer. I like him better than Grunkemeyer.
Yeah, me as well.
Um, so yeah, just
Yeah.
seeing him go to the ACC, which I think is wide open. Virginia went to the ACC championship last year. They did lose, but um,
What a
I
sad
think
way
that-
to lose the ACC championship against a 7-5 Duke team. That's quite the kick in the ass, I have to admit. An
yeah, that's a
unranked Duke team. That's pretty tough.
yeah. They might need to figure that out, but that's
But
not our job to do.
but they're on
So
the trajectory up. I really do like this UVA team, and I'll kick in right here because my eight is Bo Bueller as well. really do like this UVA team. He reminds me of a former Cavalier, and he's familiar to most people, but some people don't know he went to UVA as well as Cuse, and that's Tommy DeVito. He reminds me a lot of DeVito when just controlling the offense, throwing the ball, and maybe doesn't have the peak, but he's a better DeVito. I don't mean that as a disrespectful term. DeVito is an NFL quarterback, but I really do like his ability to make these and it sounds weird, but make these undercover throws that you wouldn't expect him to make. Control an offense like you wouldn't expect him. He can make boundary throws. He was very efficient at Missouri this year. And I like him in the UVA offense just because of, like we talked about, how open the ACC is. And hell, they were a game away this year. And if they had a serious quarterback that's not going to crumble in those big moments, that has played SEC ball and has played in huge games, the ACC championship is going to feel like nothing because it really is compared to those SEC big games down in, I mean, really down south. Any of those schools you could name them, but I mean, a game in Bama, that's pretty
Yeah, you
something.
can't
That's something. That's
you can't hear
you
you
a man up or
you
whatever
can't hear
league.
yourself think in those stadiums. So
Man, if you're gonna
yeah,
piss like a puppy, get off the porch. I mean, come on.
yeah,
But I really do like him, and especially for the Cavaliers at number 8. He raises the floor of this already hot program. I really like the trajectory of UVA. Virginia
yeah.
football's up? What? What?
Bring it back to the Big East. Come
Bring him
on.
back. Bring him back.
Um, yeah. So at number
So,
7, I have a guy you already mentioned. I have Rocco Beck. I like him better than the last 3 guys I mentioned. I'm pretty high on him, especially being a bit of a Penn State fan myself. Um, yeah, he showed a lot of promise while he was at Iowa State last year, and continuing down the same path with a lot of similar players and having his head coach there too. They were a very good team last year at some points of the season. They did taper off a bit, but this impact is so important because it really shows the difference between Big 12 football and Big 10 football. We are going to see how a top end Big 12 team can really fare in the Big 10 and see where they sit. Because if Penn State's sitting at 6-6, then it's really Penn State's window is closed and they kind of have to revamp and rebuild and reset that program. If Penn State's able to keep up at like 10-2 next season, and I think that third slot in the Big 10 is super open. I think the first 2 slots are Ohio State and Oregon, but that third slot, I think one of those teams can reach the playoff. I think it could be Penn State, it could be Michigan, it could be USC. I really like what Michigan's doing over there, and I have a few guys on my transfer board that I like, or aside from quarterbacks, because obviously they don't need a quarterback when they're paying theirs 4 year 10 million, I think, something like that. Um, so yeah, no, I think Penn State having more of an experienced guy that can sling the rock, really put you in positions to win, gives me a little bit of like Bryce Young vibes, the way I do see him play. Not but Bryce Young Bama because he was a Heisman winner, but more Bryce Young in the NFL. Um, yeah, no, and I really like how he's able to sling, he's able to make very hard throws, and I think that's a bit of a detriment to him where he's trying to force plays and really not take the best option because he's trying to throw into double coverage or a tight window or something like that. And the arm talent is there, but the decision making does need to be cleaned up a bit. And I hope another year under his head coach, he'd really get that decision making under control, making really good decisions, and bring Penn State back. We are.
yeah, I we
We
are
are
Penn
Penn
State.
State.
But yeah, I didn't mention the signing of Campbell as the coach in my val, but I really do think that's a massive signing, and the departure of Franklin is bittersweet because he did bring some success. But I do like the change up. He is a qualified coach. I mean, it was their best. He was probably the best coach in the portal, despite I don't know how Lane Kiffin is a nah. We're not talking about Lane, bro. I'm sorry, but Lane likes little girls. Lane is a freak. Lane is a certified freak. He
Lane
wins
likes
though. Give it to Lane. He wins.
Lane likes college girls. There's nothing wrong
Lane
with it.
likes 19-year-olds. Lane is 50 years old. Lane doesn't get a pass. I'm sorry.
It's not a great look.
It's not a great look.
But when I was 20, I understand where he was coming from.
But you are 20. You're 23. You
Yeah, and I
get to
don't like
say that. He's
I
50 something. or however old Lane Kiffin is. But bro is so old.
Hey,
I'm sick of
you
seeing the Kane because they always release and like the freaking what's it called? Michigan they dismiss Moore because he's sleeping with his what was it? The director of operations, the athletic director.
yeah.
But Kiffin sleeps with every woman on campus and he gets a pat on the back and he gets dapped up. I don't really understand it. I guess it's SEC ball, but like,
SEC
man,
versus
it's
Big Ten.
not. It's SEC versus Big Ten. That's the
Hey,
standard. There's no other
you're
way to
telling me
put
you
it.
don't have one of those uncles that always hits on the waitress?
I do. I don't pay them $15 million a year, but whatever. All right. So my number seven is Josh Hoover going from TCU to
Whoa, I'm much higher on him than you are.
really. There's too many other guys. I have to admit. I could
Whoa.
pluck Lagway in here, but I'm gonna stick with my guy. So
Yeah, stick with.
Josh Hoover. Out of all the quarterbacks in the portal, this is Signetti's guy, and that's why I really love it. He played in a very similar offense at TCU that Indiana runs, and he should plug and play fairly seamlessly. I mean, that's the big thing. They brought in Mendoza, and he was able to take over the offense and basically run with it. And I think Hoover's going to do very similar. He was productive at TCU, but he's never had a coach like Signetti. Signetti's the best coach in college football. So if no one, I mean, if someone can bring out his potential and let him take over the program, I think it should be as seamless as humanly possible. And that's saying something because they are the reigning national champions. And with this signing, it keeps them right in that caliber. I really do love his ability to just slide in as the same guy. And you're higher on him because you agree with me. And I love the fit. I love how seamless it's going to be. Signetti's smart enough to go get his guy. He could have gotten one of the top guys. I mean, you bring in a Sorsby, you bring in a Levitt, but he wouldn't fit the offense nearly as well as Hoover does. So I really do love it, and that's why he's my number seven.
Okay, I'm not going to talk too much about him because have a lot to say about him later. I
What do
really
you
like this kid.
All right.
But at number six, I have Byron Brown. I think he is one of the most talented quarterbacks in this portal. I really love what he did at USF. I did not watch a ton of USF, but I watched a lot of his tape. Run first guy. He'll run through you. Like that's kind of where I have him at. And like in Auburn offense, I feel like this fits well for their system. As you've seen success from like not saying he's Cam Newton, but Cam, Nick Marshall, guys that are typically downhill runners and not afraid of contact. She is not. The thing is, Auburn is gonna go 6-6, maybe 7-5, no matter what.
Just
But
Auburn.
if you could at least give some hope and maybe beat Bama in the Iron
You
Bowl
can
this
beat
year,
Bama. That's all that matters.
that's
It's a
all that
win if
matters.
you beat Bama.
It
It does
doesn't
not
matter.
matter.
It doesn't matter if you're
War
0
Eagle,
11
man. War
going to like
Eagle.
War Eagle.
War
And
Eagle.
yeah, no, not he's very much a run first guy, and I could see this being a detriment when he's coming into the NFL because I don't think Auburn's really going to do a good job letting him sling the rock, but he does have a cannon on him. Kind of gives me like similar to like that Joe Milton vibe where he just can fling like,
Again.
but still a run first guy, and that's kind of my reason for putting him at six. And also Auburn is not really in a position to really push unlike a lot of these other guys. Auburn, I think, is pretty stable where they're at with 6-6, maybe pushing to 8-4. But
Best case scenario. Yeah.
the SEC is so top heavy that to get past those top four, I'd say top three teams because I think they could beat A&M on the right day. To get past Texas, Georgia, Bama, it's gonna be
A real special season.
even
And
Ole Miss too is
what?
tough. Like to get through those six teams like
Ole Miss
A&M.
will be back. Ole Miss is they'll be back, seriously. They even flipped a couple guys from LSU, which is funny. I mean,
Yeah.
I'll talk
No,
about
I
guys.
saw. Yeah, I saw a few guys that got flipped, and I do like them a lot, but I'm more inclined. And the thing is with Auburn, it's just, they're always going to be the lesser of Alabama. Like it's not their fault. That's just kind of how the way it rolls. And they did have some success making some national championships in the 2010s, but we have not seen a bright spot for Auburn in a long time, and I'm hoping that Byron Brown can bring that. And obviously, this could shift him up the list, but I'm
He's
very
not the only
optimistic.
guy Auburn got. Auburn had a good portal this year. Auburn had a
No,
good.
yeah, they
I'll talk about
did.
a
They
guy
did.
later that Auburn also got. But yeah.
Okay.
All right. So
As
I
usual.
debated between Brown and this guy for my number six, and I'm gonna go with this guy. So that guy is DJ Lagway out of, Florida, transferred to Baylor. Jake already talked about him a whole bunch. I'm pretty high on Lagway,
Yeah.
and it almost pains me to put him at six because I do believe he has the potential to be the best quarterback in all of college football. And that's I'm not saying that loosely. He has the physicals too. But his decision making needs serious help. I mean, he just bad tendencies. His actual throwing motion isn't too smooth, which you'd think for a guy that's humongous and it should be super natural, but it's not. But I say this because I love his potential. I love what Baylor's doing right now, taking shots on boom or bust guys to try to contend because they have to because you can't be bottoming in the Big 12. You can't. That's really tough. I mean, that's the toughest division to bottom in right now. So if you're gonna be,
Yeah.
yeah, I don't. They're not like bottoming like one win, but like seriously, like it's time to bring up the program. And Lagway's just as good of a guy to do it as any. I really like it, and I think if you have to get him to, and I'm not saying this is a personal critique, but you have to get him to lock in, like genuinely, because he has the talent to be a first round pick. You saw the mock drafts from the last 2 years. He's been talked about as a top 10 guy. It's not, ew, ew, God, all right. That sent me a little bit, but I'll close it up.
I
Um,
caught it. I caught it.
you're familiar with DJ Lagway. He's got the size, he's got the strength, he's got the physicals. He needs to refine his game. He needs to play within the Baylor system. And if he does all that, then he can convince a team that he's a first round pick. And that's why he's so high. I mean, he's still ranked at number six, higher than you went with him. And I thought about putting him a little bit higher, but because I do like how much they're going to give him the keys this season and hopefully work with him and let him find his role in the offense rather than just stick him in somewhere and say figure it out. So I think that matters, especially at a team that could use the help so much as Baylor. But yeah, that's why he's my number six.
My biggest gripe with him was just how highly ranked he was last year and how highly regarded he was as a top guy, and he really did not show. Like he really did not impress me at all last year.
Spotty. He's been spotty. He's streaky. He's spotty.
But
He sometimes he looks like the best quarterback you've ever seen. Sometimes he looks like Ryan Leaf. It's very weird.
yeah, no, and it's a
It's
little
mostly
scary.
decision making, to be honest. But
Yeah, that's why I'm not as high on him. But I'll move into my number five, right? Ichiro.
Ichiro Suzuki. Yes, number five.
Number five, I
Wilson.
have the ASU transfer Sam Levitt.
Number five.
LSU.
Really?
I
Number
I
five?
really like his talent.
Okay.
He does give me a little bit of a Jackson Dart complex. I do like that, and
They're not
I
that.
think his potential's there. I watched some of his tape and I really enjoyed what he did, but I just don't have respect for a guy that's really going to take the rest of the season off once he decides to transfer. Like he knew he was transferring to LSU. He knew he was transferring to LSU or Kentucky. He knew he was out. And he did not give it all at the end of the season for ASU, and like maybe that's a business decision, whatever. But ASU was coming off of college football playoff, and they were trying to run it back even without Scatterbo, but they still had Tyson and Sam Levitt, and I love how he plays football, but I just don't have respect for a guy that can't really count. His teammates can't count on him. That was a big thing, and I think when the moment gets too big, I think he's going to fold under pressure, and I just don't. That's not like an intangible you could teach, and that's kind of where my head was at with putting him at five. And that's a very big negative. Like I know I'm talking very negatively about him, but that's because a lot of people have him so high. I think he's going to fit well with Lane Kiffin just because of how similarly he plays to Jackson Dart. Very mobile, good decision maker, can make throws all over the place, improviser. I love how he does throw the football and how he does know when to take off and move around the pocket. So I'm not saying this was a horrible transfer, but it's going to be a fun season with between him and Lane Kiffin. They're going to keep a tally chart. See, see who does the best in on campus.
I gotta ask you a question. Why'd
Yeah.
nobody show up to his birthday party? Why'd
Did you?
nobody show up?
Why not show that?
Why'd nobody show up? I'll talk
Irish.
about him later. I'm a little bit higher than Jake is, but I do think that's totally justifiable. And it's tough to trust a guy. I mean, you saw this stuff about Cam Ward sitting out of his last half of his bowl game, and people gave him shit for that. So imagine quitting on your team
Yeah,
halfway through this. And you could tell. I mean, that they had a lot. Whenever he was playing, and I'll save most of it, but whenever he was playing, he was a serious difference maker. He was one of the best players, if
yeah.
not the best, around the field for AFCU last season. And that's why he's a little bit higher for me, but I do understand that. With that said, my number five is Byron Brown. I almost want to go higher with this one. I really do
I love
love
his
it.
his
I
tape is
love
so fun to
his
watch.
tape is delicious. I mean, he
USF
was
was the team that beat
raw.
Florida, right?
Yes, USF
That's
was
why.
awesome. You remember USF last season? They
Yeah, they almost beat Miami too. Yeah,
don't
they
get me
were right.
started, but like they should have. USF was a great team last year. I'm not gonna talk about them being in over Tulane, but it should have happened. They would have been able to make it work. They would have put up a really North Texas should have been over them, but we're not going to start that. But North Texas was the team last year, but we won't. We'll talk about him later. I have a feeling, but
We're talking so much about North Texas today.
well, we have a little bit of North Texas talk today, which was fun.
So much North
But
Texas
yes,
talk.
talking about Byron Brown specifically, I love the transfer to Auburn. And we've talked about them being a 6-6, 7-5 team, but this is a quarterback you bring in to play the Cam Newton role. And I don't want to call him Cam Newton either. If anything, you pull up his tape, he looks
He gives
eerily
some
like
flashes. He gives some flashes.
he looks eerily like Taylor Green last season for me. They have very similar tape. They do. They play the similar way. They have those same types of lapses in decision making, but they can make throws like nobody else can. They can outrun people that they're so big you wouldn't expect them to be able to
They could run people over.
and just go. They can run people over. They run a mean read option. Oh wow, he ran a great read option last year. He can make any throw on the football field. I really do love Byron Brown, and if I wasn't so high on these top four guys, he would be in that group. Like he's my five, but there's a yes, they were close, but there's a pretty decent gap between him and Brown and Lagway in my
Yeah.
rankings. Lagway's a solid six, and he's my five.
Yeah. I just want to mention one more thing about Sam Levitt, and like that's one of the reasons I had him over
I'll
Byron
bring him up
Brown.
later, so you don't have to take too much.
No, no, I know. I just want to say like how this is a season for LSU. If bringing Lane Kiffin
Oh
in
yeah,
is going to
for sure.
start putting you in the right direction, they need to be going 8-4, 9-3.
Mhm.
10-2 would be ideal, but
Yes.
they really need to have a season where they're
Playoffs are
impressive.
expected. Playoffs
Yeah,
are
playoffs
expected.
playoffs are
Jeez.
expected.
You don't
The
say about
playoffs are
many.
expected. Yeah, you say that about
You
six
bringing
teams in
Clifton to
the
LSU, you expect it every year. Now you're expecting them to climb up to Texas. You're expecting them to climb up, and Texas has
You're
extra
expecting them to be
expectations. Same
that
thing with Georgia. Same thing. You
Georgia,
know that
Bama, A&M, Ole Miss, all those teams are still
top
this
of the
year are
SEC.
expecting.
And
And that's six
LSU is one of
SEC.
those teams. LSU is a blue blood. I mean, they seriously are. They, I mean, you've seen the success, and even when they don't have the top level of talent, they still tend to be involved.
Yeah.
I don't like LSU personally, but they are going to be mean this season. I am very excited for them.
Okay. I'll move into my number four. I think you have the same one. Well, we haven't seen each other's list, but honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if you had him. Drew Messamaker at North Texas. I have him as my number four, transferring to OK State. And again, like them being such a bottom team last year, bringing in the North Texas head coach, quarterback, and running back, all puts them in a really good position to take over the Big Ten. And they're kind of my team to go from worst to first. I really do see a good year out of them, and I love what their coach was doing in North Texas, and I think it's going to be very similar to what they're doing in OK State. And like I said before, the Big 12 is an open conference. It's still the Wild West out there. Like you still got your sheriffs and stuff like that,
Jones, but it's not sorted.
but
Those
yeah,
sheriffs are still
it's not
weapons.
sorted. That in my opinion, that second slot is open, and I still have BYU as my number one team, but I think Texas Tech's going to take a fall. I think Utah's going to take a fall for different reasons, but I think Utah's more based on their coach leaving for Michigan, and I think Texas Tech is more based on how many guys they lost in the draft and graduating and stuff like that. So yeah, I love how this guy plays. Gave me like some flashes of Ole Miss Eli Manning. Gave me
Like
some
that.
flashes of that, just how he looks. Because I was thinking, I'm like, yeah, maybe Dan Jones Duke, but Dan Jones cannot throw like that.
I
I
see the
watched,
danger with Duke, funnily enough.
I do see it, but I've never seen Dan Jones take a guy's hands off from throwing the ball. This guy can sling, and he loves throwing piss missiles, but he does have decent touch on the ball, and he has a variety of pitches in his bag. If he was a pitcher, he didn't have the full arsenal going. But this is a quarterback who I am very high on, and I really think he's going to take the next step. I believe he's going to be a sophomore next year, if I'm
Yes.
not
True
mistaken.
freshman this year.
Yeah. So as a true freshman,
Insanely impressive.
and
Insane.
now going to the Big 12 to
He should have been the Heisman
possibly,
rankings. If he's going to be the first pick in about 2 years, don't
yeah,
sleep.
yeah.
He-
Yeah, I really do think he's going to, especially having a guaranteed 2 year span at OK State if he does stay there. I really think he can move this program into what they used to be when we were watching. Can't think of the bowl name between OK State and Oklahoma, but those games were some of the most fun games to watch when we were like 2014. That was I'm trying to think of some old OK
Dogs
State.
playing. 2014 would be Brandon Whedon starting at quarterback, or
Yeah,
2013.
yeah. I feel like Justin Blackman was on that team.
Yes, with Blackman
Yeah,
and Whedon. Funky, funky.
yeah. And that sounds weird that we're referencing these guys, but those were both first round picks. Justin Blackman didn't
Rest in
pan
peace,
out.
Justin Blackman. You're not dead,
Yeah.
but wherever you are, I don't know.
Where are you? Um, so yeah, no, I just love how this guy really commands the offense and really can just throw the ball down the field. He does need to gain a little bit more size. That's my only gripe on him. But putting him at four, the main reason is because OK State is coming from such a bad place last year. For them to really win the Big 12 this year, I'd be flabbergasted to say the least. So
Yeah, I like how you
yeah,
made the Eli Manning comp because if you watched him this season, you would have thought it was Arch Manning. He plays like Arch Manning. They're very similar, and
he,
it's interesting because he might be better than Arch Manning. Like seriously, this is a
yeah,
legit quarterback. He was a bona fide top 10 guy this season, no questions asked. He threw for the
yeah.
most.
Bona fide top 10 guy as a true freshman is more impressive than anything Arch did on the
Yeah,
field this year,
and he
especially
is
sitting down Ewers for 2 years.
he's my number four because of the context and that I really think it's going to take one season of growth and development at Oklahoma State for them to become a Big 12 contender. But he is the best quarterback in the portal this year. If you were any team, you should have been putting all your chips inside because he is 19 years old and he has all the potential in the world. I love him. He's only at number four, and he's at number four for me because of the situation at Oklahoma State. And not that I don't think that they'll be able to show their stripes and compete for a Big 12 championship in his time there. I think he will be. But this season, maybe not fully there. That's why he falls on my number four compared to all three of my top guys that are going to be contending for a playoff berth this year. And they're big movers to these teams, and that's why they go a little bit higher.
Yeah, and that's very similar to my top three. We do have at least one guy that's
We have one guy
different.
that's we have one
We have at
different.
least we have one guy that's different, and that's going to be Josh Hoover at my three.
Crazy. I don't hate that. Okay.
I The thing is, Indiana is in a position where they need to keep doing what they're doing. They're coming off a national championship. Signetti did a great job this season bringing in recruits that bringing in older guys that are able to. Because like as much as it seems insane to have 3 stars and like have a lack of 5 stars on that team, when you're bringing in like 23, 24 year olds, me myself, I am not a college football player. I would beat the crap out of my 18-year-old self. Like I could honestly kill my 18-year-old self. That's pretty much the extent of it. And like just
Experience
being
matters.
able, what?
I said experience matters in college football
Yeah,
now. Having guys that have been in those situations, it never really, yeah, it mattered. But now, especially with how guys can be veterans, how guys can play for four different franchises, it matters more than ever. Seriously.
yeah,
And then at that, Signetti's going to have guys that are coming back now, and then to have some actual consistency of guys that have been there for a few years, that matters most of all. That is the number one thing in college football. Besides having, 19 5 stars, what really matters is having guys that are consistently on your roster for multiple years and are able to emerge as leaders and contenders and can keep your core and just the whole vibe and the energy up within your franchise. But please keep going.
yeah. Yeah, and like expanding on that, who were the last 4 teams in the playoff bracket? It was
It was
Ole Miss,
Tulane, Miami,
Miami,
Ole
Indiana,
Miss.
and
No,
Oregon.
Indiana was high. Oh, with the four best teams.
No, the 4 last teams in the
Oh,
playoff.
Miami, Ole Miss,
Oregon, Ole
Indiana,
Miss,
Oregon.
Indiana.
Yeah,
I'm not 100% sure, but I believe Dante Moore transferred. All those guys are guys that have transferred into these positions. And you take a guy like Mendoza, Beck, guys that have had a lot of experience under the belt, like Josh Hoover has. I really think he's going to keep Indiana at the top. And I talked about how that third slot was a little more free. If they could really secure that third slot and go 10-2 and make a playoff berth, this kind of starts the talks of them being in contention for those 1 and 2 slots with Ohio State and Oregon. Granted, I think those are better programs that are able to pull in more guys, and even in-state is tough because you got Notre Dame. Like you're competing with Notre Dame and in-state guys that you're
those
trying to
those
recruit.
teams haven't won a national championship in the last 25 years.
Ohio State?
Indiana won. No, I thought I meant Oregon and Notre Dame, not Ohio State. Sorry, not them.
Notre Dame's getting close.
They've came close, but Indiana did the whole thing.
Yeah, so yeah, that's why I'm very high on him. And Mendoza did have the highest success rate on play action last season. Number 2 guy was Josh Hoover. Like you said
So
before,
similar, man.
great fit into the system, and I think Signetti's really going to get the most out of him. We could be hearing his name on the first day in April. Honestly,
100%.
that's how high I am on this guy, and I love how he slings the rock. There was one sprint out pass that gave me a little Deshaun Watson vibes, and he's not a guy you really want to mention, but there was one like rollout sprint out pass that I saw that I was like, whoa, yeah, could I'm hoping. I'm very optimistic about this guy. So
I like it. So at my three spot, I am, and this is a tough one because I'm between these very three close guys. But I'm gonna put Sam Levitt in my number three. We talked about him a little bit, so we don't need to get too far into it. But ASU to LSU, following Lane Kiffin there, LSU's had this huge rebirth. They have some amazing transfers. I don't want to hint on my list, but the best end in the portal and the best tackle in the portal. Uh, they have some. They have momentum. They are a blue blood. They have.
you have him as your best D end in the portal.
He's right there with a couple guys. I'm not. I don't want to spoil, but he's him and another guy are my one and two.
Yeah,
But to keep going on Levitt just a little bit, yeah, we talked about the character stuff of sitting out, but I base this on mostly just his in person, his on the field stuff. That season in 2024 was electric. He was, yes, it was Scatabo, but it wasn't just Scatabo. He was in control in late games. They almost pulled off that Texas. If it wasn't for that bullshit call at the end, they would have beat Texas. And that would have been crazy. And then imagine ASU moving forward from that. But even last season, there was a huge difference between games where he was playing and where he wasn't. He made ASU competitive. ASU did not have the strongest roster in the Big 12, not even close last year. But in games that he was playing, you could always say they're going to win this. Hell, if you looked on the book, they'd probably be the favorite, even if they were not a ranked team and the other team was number 17. Remember that a couple times last year where he was playing and they were the favorites because of solely him. He is a big difference maker. Like he said, I think he reminds me of Jackson Dart a bit. Improviser is definitely the word I'd use for him. And that's something that you don't find every single day. Especially, yes, he was the number one consensus from just about every recruiting site on 247, all that fun stuff. But he's my number three. I know you're a little bit behind him, even though I'm talking to a bookshelf right now. But I really like Levitt. I think that he has a great chance of bringing back this LSU team to a playoff. And I'm really only higher on my top two guys because I think they make slightly bigger differences on their team. So I'll talk about my number two now. So my number two is, and I decide between the last two guys because they're very tight on my list, but I'm going to go with Darian Menza here. He went from Duke to Miami. Another one of those very much dual threat guys and definitely went under the radar. Mensa's not a big name that everybody knows. Oh, a little bit of refreshments. Nice. Mensa's
Yes.
not a name that everyone knows, but when I tell you by week one next year and moving forward, he will be the name. Mensa's going to be huge. He's taking over a middling Carson Beck. And yes, he was a third rounder, but Carson Beck did not deserve to be drafted this year. Getting a real quarterback who can transform an offense like Mensa is going to be huge. He stood out at Duke so much. I watched a couple of their games last year, and I've rewatched a couple for this video. And man, he was their offense. They won the ACC championship last year. They're an ACC champion, which is crazy because they weren't that great to start with. But he really is a difference maker. He's a clutch quarterback, similar to Byron Brown. Honestly, they're not that different of prospects. I'd say he's not as much of a physical freak, but he does have that play action ability. He does have the improviser ability. I'd like to see what type of offense Miami shapes around him, especially because they have a funky team this year. They're going to be interesting because they lost a whole bunch of guys, but if you know Miami, you know that they are a hamster wheel. They are perpetually recycling. And there's always new guys, and they have some absolute studs on offense, and there's no one better in this class in the Miami offense that fits as well as Darian Mensah does. So I'm very excited for him this season. They should be back to the playoff, or at least contending at the bare minimum, and that's why he's my number two.
I have him as my number two as well. Uh, I was considering putting him at one because I am very high on this guy.
I just talked about how I was very in between.
Yeah, no,
You know,
I'm.
you were on the fridge. My bad.
Yeah, no, It wasn't a choice. It was the bathroom was calling, to say the least. So my comp for him is Bo Nix at Oregon. I really think he is. You were saying like how Byron Brown and him are similar, but I see him more as a guy who's pass first, operating from the pocket, making throws that a lot of these guys that we mentioned before cannot make.
Different
Uh,
levels. I like Jaden Daniels with slightly less athleticism. That's kind of
yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah. No, I get what you're saying. I saw that from a few guys this year that Jaden Daniels vibe. But no, I really like Mensa. He knows when to run. Very smart quarterback. Because I mean, he went to Duke as you know. I think he transferred from Tulane. This is his second school, so he's had a lot of experience with teams that have a lot of wins under their belt. And winning the ACC championship doesn't seem like much when you're going to another ACC school. But obviously, he could be one of the few guys that are back to back ACC winners this year.
That would be crazy.
Probably the only one.
Two different
And
schools. Wow, should be
yeah,
nuts.
that's impressive. I'm very high on this guy, and I really do think the world of him. I don't think he has that prototypical size and potential that guys look for when they see quarterbacks coming out, like scouts see when they have quarterbacks coming out. But then again, his impact and what he could do in Miami this year and keep them as the top team in the ACC by a landslide. Like if he could get him to 11 wins, which I think is very like very
Optimistic, but I can see
possible,
it. Yeah.
very possible out of
They have a
Miami.
cupcake
'Cause,
schedule, a cupcake. Their hardest
yeah,
game is Notre Dame, and then besides that, it's Virginia Tech. It's Clemson. It's really like this year, actually. Like
Yeah,
ridiculous
it's
easy.
really not a hard schedule, and I really do think they're going to be competing again
Well,
in yeah in December, January, competing again. Maybe not, and possibly even getting one of those top four seeds, which for an ACC team would be very, very impressive.
if they can beat Notre Dame, they're gonna go undefeated next regular season.
Yeah,
There's no one
yeah,
else for them to lose to.
yeah.
But
No,
maybe
and
there is. Of course, they tend to get upset and maybe, not live up to expectations sometimes. That's kind of what Miami does. We've seen this before, but let's hope there's some consistency from last year, some carryover.
yeah, no, and I like how he plays ball. I'm just very high on how he can sling the rock. Like there's not a lot of guys that can make a throw as he could throw, and how consistent he was last year at Duke. That game against Clemson last year was one of the best games I saw, even though it ended in a Clemson loss, but still just I think it was like 46, 45, something like that, winning on a 2 point. That's college football for you, baby. That's what we'd love to see. And I'll go into my number I'll go into my number one. And that's going to be the same as yours. It's
All
going
right.
to be Brendan Sorsby. Yeah. So my biggest thing for putting him at one is the gambling issues right now, because he was honestly the best quarterback that was coming out this year. Everyone was trying to get their hands on him, and Texas Tech gave him $5 million that they could have spent elsewhere and decided to invest it in him, and a guy that's going to Um, I don't know. I don't know if he's going to rehab necessarily, but they are dealing with his gambling issues. I don't know how much of a factor that is going to be in the upcoming season. But say he's unable to play for whatever reason, because gambling issues or whatever. That is $5 million on a team that was a top four seed last year. They will not be making that if they do not have this guy playing. This is one of the best improvising quarterbacks that we've seen in a long time. Gives me very similar vibes to Baker Mayfield, and just how he
Really
plays and
efficient at
how he
that.
operates.
Very efficient.
Yeah, very efficient, great quarterback. Did a great job at Cincinnati last year, and that is a Big 12 team. That is a Power 4 team. And that's kind of why I'm a little higher on him, because I do think a little bit more highly of the Big 12 than the ACC. And that's why I had Hoover so high too. Like Levitt, yeah, like more of that was just off field issues. But Sorsby, really just a guy that can make any throw. And if he's playing a full season at Texas Tech and they're able to stay on top and really beat out BYU for that one slot, because I don't think there's many teams in the Big 12 that can really compete with BYU this year. I think he's one of the few guys on here that could really make a Heisman bid this year.
Fair. I honestly agree with that. I think this
Yeah,
Texas Tech team,
between between him and Messmaker, I really don't see many other guys pushing for that Heisman slot. Maybe Levitt, depending on
it
how
would,
he plays.
it would have to
But
be a fantastic season with Levitt, like something we haven't seen in a
yeah,
long
like Messmaker going 10-2 with OK State and
time. Yeah.
throwing for close to 5,000 yards. Like I really think that's in the cards.
Oklahoma State makes the playoff next year. Yeah, I could see it. But Sorsby's genuinely realistic, and I'm gonna put, this ranking is putting the gambling stuff to a side because he is 22 years old. My tendency is that the media blows up shit. They just do. And they blow up gambling as well. He's a kid that's making a couple $1 million. Yeah, it's probably an issue, but it's also probably blown out of the water. So I'm going to say that's going to be resolved by the time, especially because how much money they put into this kid. He had the 11th best QBR in all of college football last year. Extremely efficient. I like the Baker Mayfield comp, but he does have that talent of making something out of nothing. And Cincinnati's a Big 12 team, but they are one of the worst teams in the Big 12. And if you're a Big 12 team and you see Cincinnati, you're probably circling it and going, "That's a win." That's just how they've been. That's how the odds reflect in Vegas. And he did a lot to fight against that last season. And I really do, there's a reason why he was the number one quarterback. There's a reason why everyone wanted him so bad. And Texas Tech getting him out of all teams is huge because, as we talked about, they were the 4 seed last year. And yes, they have losses, but they also are willing to spend the money that some programs aren't to fill those holes. So I really do like bringing in Sorsby. Just like you said, he can be a Heisman candidate next season, and that doesn't go for every player on here. I think this quarterback list is very Heisman relevant because technically speaking, any of these guys, if they had the season of their lives, while in the other guys, the opposite of quarterbacks, you're probably not having a bid. But there is a couple guys on here that now I circle. Byron Brown, if he could carry Auburn to the playoff, has a chance. Mestamaker, just like we said, if he carries, if it would take Mensa to have an all
Levitt, Hoover, Mensa, Sorsby, any of those guys, I really do
Mensa,
think I'm
I
very high on Mensa. I love Mensa. I love how he slings the rock. Like there is so much potential there. And going from Duke to Miami really gets me going. I think Tony's gonna have an insane season. Malachi Tony's gonna have an insane season next year. I think he's gonna be up there with talks of with Jeremiah Smith next year. That's how good of a season I think he's gonna have.
I agree with you. I think he opens up the offense so much, and Mensa only complements that. Where you have such a threat now, I mean, it's not that he's just a vertical wide receiver. He is. It's funny because he's kind of just Kadarius Toney, but he's better than Kadarius Toney. Like they're very similar in that Miami. I mean, and he played for Florida, but that Florida style offense, I guess. But they're very similar players, and I mean, maybe I hate to say it because of the last name, but that's the type of player he was at Florida, and there's a reason why Kadarius Toney was a first round pick and was picked so highly, and despite the fact that he fizzled out in the NFL, he can have that impact and more on a championship level offense and roster next season. That's huge. This
Yeah.
is not a wide receiver episode, but I am very high on Malachi Tony next year. But yeah, that's our top 10 quarterback transfers.
It's bound to be a wide receiver episode.
Oh, yes. Yes, it is.
I have way too many wide receivers on my
I
list,
made it
man.
a point. I was like, if I could just pick all wide receivers and then we're going to be just talking about wideouts. There's guys with production. I mean, multiple guys with 700, 800 yards last season.
Yeah.
You want to get it kicked off?
Yeah. So I'll start with my honorable mention, and I have Nick Marsh here from MSU transferring to Indiana. I think he's going to fill that Omar Cooper Surratt role very well. He is more of a vertical threat, and I think he was misused a lot at MSU. Being a bigger guy running slant routes, it's not something you really want to see. You want to see him making contested catches, and that's why we didn't put Aiden Childs on our board because he's just not the quarterback that I really think can elevate an offense to a better position. I can't remember exactly where he transferred to. He transferred from MSU to
I saw it today. Yeah.
let's transfer. Computer, tell me where Aiden Childs transferred from. Northwestern, and that was a big thing on his part. Was you're going Big Ten to Big Ten, and you're honestly going to a lesser program at that point.
It's tough. Right now, MSU is not exactly a strong program. So to go
Yeah,
lower is
no.
actually tough.
Nick Marsh being a 6'4" receiver with some really good size, and he
Yes.
just was and he should be used as a vertical threat. That is the biggest thing that I really see out of him. I I'm not happy with what MSU has been doing, but I do think Indiana is going to use him well and have him play all over the field. I think he might move into slot more like Omar Cooper did this year and just be able to if anyone watched Indiana play this season, a lot of back shoulder stuff, a lot of contested catches out of their guys, and what better than having a 6'4" athlete on the outside. So I'll let you move into your honorable mention.
Alright. So my honorable mention is a running back, Bryson Washington, transferred from Baylor to Auburn. And this is a guy. Thank you, thank you.
What a poll. What
Oh,
a
I love it.
poll.
I have signature cards sitting in my closet. I love this kid. He's got the size of an elite running back. He's 6 foot tall, about 220. He's quick. He doesn't have the top upside of speed, but at times at Baylor, he looked like an elite back. It was it was definitely PC, and it was half the coaching staff, half his health. But when he is on the field and getting the rock, he was very productive. He was very, you could see it. He looked like an elite back out there. He was able to find holes that you can't really see and power through. His running style reminds me of a slightly quicker Frank Gore, funnily enough. But I really like him, and I think he's going to be very interesting at Auburn next season with Mensa. I mean, with Byron Brown, and that's a revitalized offense, and I really like the swings from Auburn. I mean, if this genuinely works out for them, they could turn up. I'm not sure if this really moves the needle in a super tight SEC, but I really do like the transfer. I'm very high on Washington. He was probably my best back in the portal. Maybe I decided on him to compare it to a guy like Hollywood Smothers, or there's a couple other guys, but the running back position was mainly focused around guys that entered committees. A lot of committees, guys that are not, unless they can win it out in camp, they're not going to be getting the bell cow role. But Bryson Washington should be walking into a bell cow at Auburn. I think he should be able to take the job pretty easily from anyone that's there just because of how quality he is if he's healthy. And let's hope he's healthy. No reports have said otherwise. So I really like him, and he's my honorable mention.
Okay, I'll move into my number 10. Here I have Chaz Coleman, Penn State to Tennessee. Not a lot of tape on this guy. Really didn't play much last season. I think he was a freshman last year. But in my notes, in all caps, I just wrote spin move.
Lightning.
Disgusting spin move.
He's gross. You'll
One of
see
the
him
best, and like the size, the reach, the length, like this is what you want out of your edge rusher. And like I'm sorry, like Penn State kind of they just had a bad season last year, and like they lost a lot of guys because of that. And to be able to go to Tennessee, where they're another team that could be 9-3, 10-2 next season, possibly hoping for a playoff run. They definitely had a down year from what people expected out of them from the previous years, but I really think he could be a difference maker on that side of the ball, and I think that was a big thing they were missing from JPJ getting drafted 2 years ago. So I'm very optimistic about this guy. We haven't seen much tape, but being he looks like a pure edge. Like he looks like someone that you do not want to be facing for an entire game. He's going to be a disruptor in the run game, but he's also going to make plays at going after the quarterback and giving whoever they're going to be playing this year, Gunnar Stockton, Sam Levitt, Byron Brown, giving them a little bit of hell this season. So I'm very high on this guy, and I think he's going to have a great season.
Yeah, I agree with you. I actually have Chaz at my number 10 as well. I think he could genuinely have been higher if he just got on the field more at Penn State. It was a shame how little they used him for how great his physicals and his potential can be. I mean, he only had 6 tackles last season and a sack in very limited time. But if Tennessee gives him the keys, like it looks like they did because of all the NIL money they gave him, X, Y, and Z, he should be I mean, he's going to be an every down rusher for an SEC team. He's going to have to play against all those top quarterbacks next year, and that makes a difference in this conference. And I have multiple SEC and just Big Four rushers on my list, and he is just as high as a bunch of those guys. He only ranks this low because of the lack of production, but I don't think it's because he lacks it. I think it's because of the coaching staff at Penn State not giving him the keys. So I think once he gets to Tennessee, he's going to get the keys. Don't be surprised if he puts up an 8 sack season next season. I don't doubt that. At the bare minimum, I think he's going to be a difference maker. I really do like Chaz Coleman. His practice tape is good. You can't really see the game tape, but I I like he's very quick and twitchy. The spin move, like you said, it's smooth, it's buttery, it's nice. It's a Von Miller type of spin move, and I really like that. And he's not Von Miller, please, but the please, but maybe we'll see. Maybe he has that type of season, but yes, that's why Chaz Coleman ends up my number 10.
Yeah. So my number 9 is going to be Smith Snowden
Ooh, I like
out of
that.
Utah, going
Hunky.
to Michigan, following his coach, like a lot of these guys ended up doing this year. And kind of gave me similar vibes to like Trent McDuffie, where he's able to play the outside very well and be able to be like more of a striker position where he's kind of just lined up. He's able to operate from the slot, more of a coverage guy, but really love what this guy can do. Comes up and makes a tackle like a lot of the corners that do have good highlights in it, like coming into the portal and stuff like that. But he was consistent with it all season. I watched a good amount of Utah this season, and he really did impress me this season. He was noticeable on the field, and I think Michigan really got a guy out of here. And I think having a guy that can really just maneuver all over the field and make plays everywhere is very valuable for a Michigan defense that needs to be up from what they did last season and hopefully make a playoff push this year.
I agree. And Michigan, in order to be good, they have to have a one of the best defenses in the country. That's their scheme. That's just how it works. And the one place that the transfer portal can lack at times is secondary. It's a very tough position because schools tend to keep on to and pay their guys because secondary is just such a tough position. I mean, you see in the NFL, there's cornerback twos in the NFL that get ran out of town, and they're the second best guy in their literal tri-state area. So that just talks about how difficult it is to find a true secondary guy. And I'll talk about a secondary guy at I'm between these two guys. I think I'll go with Nick Marsh here at number nine. You talked about him, so I'll keep it very brief. But transfer from MSU to Indiana, filling in for that Omar Cooper vertical, even better of a vertical pure threat than Cooper. He's 6'4", he's super quick. I wonder what his 40 is, but it's probably somewhere in the 4.4s. When he goes to the draft in a few years, don't be surprised if he's a low 4.4 guy. Michigan State was a shit show this season. They've been for a couple seasons. They misused him. Like you said, too much in the middle, underneath. He needs to be a pure. He has I mean, he could probably put on a little bit of weight, but he's a crazy vertical athlete. He just is. He's huge. He he reminds me of a lot of guys, genuinely. From
Adam
this,
is a Christian Watson comp.
Christian Watson's a good pull. I like that. I think like vertically wise,
Martavis Bryant.
yeah, maybe a quicker Vincent Jackson. Because I see the Vincent Jackson, funnily, and they have the same type of mechanics when they catch a ball, almost robotic. He's not as slimy. Um,
Not as fluent.
I almost see even the Darius Hayward Bay a little bit. I see
I,
it.
I did see Darius Hayward bad bit.
I see it a little bit, but all right. As fun as this is, yes. Nick Marsh, he had production despite the misuse at MSU. He had 650 yards and six touchdowns last season. That's real production on a serious Big Ten team. I mean, Michigan State is a blue. They're not a blue blood, but they're just involved as everyone else. Michigan State is one of those teams. They're a household name, and despite the just overall lacklusterness of them last season, he still had a productive season. I truly believe going into Indiana, getting Josh Hoover to be throwing you the ball, they are going to be a tandem next season, and he should go for 1,000 yards with grace next season. And he's my number one wide receiver in the portal. I mean, at least for fit and impact, 100%. So yeah, he's my number nine. It's tough. There's only guys above him that I believe are going to play like really serious, crucial parts of their team. And Nick Nash is, I mean, Nick Marsh is as well, but the other
Nick
guys.
Nasty.
Nick Nasty. Oh, Wubby. Wubby.
Hey, I your computer.
Computer.
Um,
Toxic.
so
Record this guy's IP address and blow up Garnast.
so at my number 8 slot, I got Caleb Hawkins,
Oh, I like that actually.
running back out of North Texas. I did mention this before, how Messmaker did transfer, and this guy is a north-south runner. Contact balance is there. Gives me a bit of scat vibes out of him. And I love how he just gets downhill and really just makes one cut. And he's going to try to run people over and make a play through that. I think it's going to be very optimistic for OK State, and that North Texas offense was great last year. I think the bottom end of the Big 12 is up there with is bottom end of the Big 12 is might be lesser than where North Texas was last year.
Probably equal to the top of the American, frankly. I At the end of the season, I'm not sure if I would have taken. Well, actually, I probably would have taken Tulane, USF, ECU, Memphis over any of those teams. North Texas over any of those teams.
Yeah, I think they're more like a middle level team
Genuinely, yeah,
in the Big 12.
seriously strong
And
teams.
I do think this is a great move for Oklahoma State to bring in these guys who did have success together, really keep a good trio rolling. I'm very optimistic with how he's going to play this season, and I do think OK State is going to, like I said before, make some sort of movement towards the top of the Big 12, which is very open this year.
Yeah. You could put him on my honorable mentions. Honestly, I really like him as well. He's right behind Washington on my big board of running backs in the transfer portal this year, but he's not that much far off. He'd probably be my number 12, to be honest. So I really do like him. But my number 8 is Earl Little Jr., transferring from FSU to Ohio State. He's a safety. He's not a household name, that's for sure, but he was a real producer on this Florida State team last season, a team that had aspirations, at least early. He had 33 tackles and 4 interceptions. And the biggest thing to me is he's 23 years old, which can be a negative if you were talking about NFL prospects. And he might be not be a guy that is talked about as a first round guy, but hell, joining Ohio State being a huge get for them to plug in the secondary where they're going to need the help next season. He could plug in for that downs role. And he's more of an on-ball safety and a coverage safety than Downs was. But I mean, that's no Downs is one of the best college safeties I've seen in a decent amount of time. But he can. It's a testament that I really do think Little can fill into his shoes. That he can plug and play for that Ohio State defense, a team that is going to be a top 10 team, a team that is going to be up for that championship, whether it's the Big Ten or national. They're going to be just there with every other team. That's Ohio State. They got Sang coming back. They got the best wide receiver in the country. We know Ohio State. I don't need to explain them. But this is there's no reason for it. But this is a huge get for them to get a plug and play safety that can serve where the best player in your defense did last year. I'm not saying he's going to be Caleb Downs, but I'm saying he's a damn good replacement to bring in for him, and that's why he's my number 8.
Okay, did not have him on my list, but love to be
He's a
enlightened.
kid. He's a real dude, seriously.
So at my number 7, I have Isaiah Horton, wide receiver, Bama, transferring to A&M. Casey leaving is a big loss for them because he kind of did it all, and this guy does not really fill that role as much. But Marcel Reed, this is a year for him to really prove that A&M is a team and that he deserves a draft stock that people would have put into him this year. And A&M, like all those other teams I mentioned, needs to have a good season to really secure themselves as one of those top SEC teams. And I love how open the middle of a lot of these conferences are for really those like middle range slots. Like I think the tops of every conference are pretty much not solidified, but because I thought Penn State was one of them last year, and I thought Clemson was one of them last year, and we watched them in the
Yeah.
Pinstripe Bowl. Um,
Yeah, we did.
so yeah, I think for A&M to really get a guy from Bama and pull from one of their rivals is huge. And this guy was a difference maker last year. I really love what he did at Bama. He made Ty Simpson look really good last season, and he was in a very congested wide receiver room in Bama with Ryan Williams and Jermaine Bernard. Right, I'm saying that right.
Remy
Yeah,
Bernard, yeah.
Jeremy Bernard. Yeah.
Pronounce
Yeah,
it
just
Jeremy.
to
I don't know if it's correct, but I like saying Jeremy. I don't know. That's fun. Jeremy.
Jeremy
Yeah, exactly.
bring me
You
back
get
to
it.
like it's bring me back to Phineas and Ferb a bit.
Yeah, I like
Um,
Jeremy. I like that clip of him. He gets home from work. He's working like 3 shifts in a row, and he's got the piece of chicken in his hand and the gallon of milk, and he just passes out on the couch like. Shout out
it's me.
Jeremy. Shout out
That's
Candace. Can't just ball
Uh,
sack it in your mouth. Hey.
yeah, yeah. I didn't know how PG we were keeping this pod, so
So what's
like
drink?
in my mind, if you didn't say it, like I was gonna be thinking about the rest of the podcast. So,
You can't say
um,
Candace. Not. Come on. You know what I
yeah,
really have
no,
been feeding lately, and I haven't gotten in a while, and this is kind of unrelated, but Wendy's. I've wanted Wendy's so bad lately.
dude, I miss it so much. I haven't had Wendy's in some
Wendy's
time.
nuts at the back of your chin, boy. Back of your throat, back of your chin. I don't know, either one.
I think
Sorry.
it's like slap your chin or something like that.
These nuts hit you. Yeah, I guess hit the back of your chin. I was thinking like right here, like you had yeah.
Yeah, you
You
also said
hit the
you also finished it with boy, so
boy. It was like it was to you. It was.
it was to me. That's even
I
worse.
don't- Look,
Like
I need station. I'm having withdrawals. Don't get me
I'm
started.
having trouble. I think I'm going to Scott's this weekend.
Oh, that should be fun. Is this the week? Is this the opener?
Yeah,
That should be fun, low key.
yeah.
Are
Depends
we
how
gonna
it
see are we gonna see a Shion sighting at Scott's this season? What do we think?
goes. I told him he has to.
I actually called my boy Shion up and was like, "Yo, pull up a Lee Mac, bro. Like, let's get rowdy. We can also like record commercials and shit. It'll be dope. It'll be
So
cool. It'll be
so dope.
dope. We'll record like glasses commercials that won't get off my social media and all that fun stuff,
Sunhawk glasses.
bro. I can't believe you know the name. It's actually funny.
I see it every day.
I
So
respect it. All right. So should I give my number
move on.
seven?
Yeah, I'll move on to number 7.
All right. So number seven, I have Carius Kern, and this he's an offensive tackle, and this really meant a lot to me because it was an LSU transfer, one of their starting tackles last season, transferring to Ole Miss. What a big get for Trinidad Chambliss next year. A guy that can plug and play at tackle, protect your quarterback. One of the highest rated guys in the portal. LSU had a down year this season, but I wouldn't say it was inherently because of him. And just getting a transfer starter from the team that tried to poach all your players is huge. That means a lot to me. And despite how they've been kind of pushed to the wayside, they were a top four team last season. They had just as much of a chance as any to win the whole thing. I mean, once you get to that point, it's best team wins. And while they weren't that, I do love this get. I love just the buy into protecting Chambliss that you were able to, through all the legal proceedings, get him back, even though he's so old, bro. Like he's genuinely Unk. But
So
you have Unk back. So now that Unk is back, you got to protect Unk because Unk is old. And this is a great signing to do that. And that's why he's my number seven. It's not flashy, but it's solid.
yeah, so I'll move to my number 6. I have Raheem Biles,
Mm,
linebacker from Pitt.
funky. I
Going
like
to
that.
Texas.
I
I think
love
he's
this
going to
pick.
fill that Anthony Hill Jr. spot very, very well. This guy is a thumper. He like lives in the backfield. I've
Mhm.
never seen someone shoot gaps like this guy and not produce. Like this guy is going to be. I think he had 12
Well,
TFLs last season.
yeah, and he got after. I mean, I remember the
Yeah,
Clemson game specifically. He got after it. Oh my God. I
yeah.
mean,
No,
I saw him as well and thought about it, but there's too many guys. That's the problem. There's too many guys.
guys.
Because the
Remember
tackles
like
up. I still have another tackle to talk about. Linemen, I don't really want to talk about in this episode, but they matter. It's just it's
I have one. I kept one because I'm
well
just
probably the same guy because it's huge,
yeah,
but
because he's huge. But
he's huge
yeah,
as
just
well.
Texas getting another guy in the portal, and they did a great job this offseason getting guys that are really going to contribute. And you mentioned Smothers being one of those guys. They did get another guy in the portal at running back from I believe ASU. I'm not 100% sure. Um,
Yes. Mhm.
but getting a guy that could be like a quarterback of your defense and really just do a great job replacing a few of the guys you lost this year. I'm very optimistic for this Texas defense, and that's kind of going to separate them from Bama and Georgia this year. If that defense is going to be what we known Texas defense to be, and having an off-ball linebacker that can really play is going to change how this defense looks this year. And I think this is the difference between them being bounced in the second round, third round, to be pushing for a national championship this year.
Texas is back.
Texas is back, and they had an extremely strong class.
I've
My
I have another guy that
I have
attacked.
another guy. There's a reason why I didn't put this guy because I have another guy and I didn't want to double up. I think
I
we
couldn't
probably have the
help.
same guy. I don't want to spoil, and I'm trying to
I
save it
couldn't
for
help
you.
myself, honestly.
I know, but this is a very fun one, and I'm not sure if he's on your list, but he's certainly on mine. I have J.G. Buchanan going from Utah to Michigan. I love this fucking. Oh, I love it. He went for 450 yards last season and 5 touchdowns. He's a tight end wide receiver hybrid. Oh, I love it. He's going to be so nasty at Michigan. He's going to get the keys, man. This is Colston Loveland X. I love this signing. So I thought about putting this in my top three. That's how much I love this signing. He is going to get the keys in that offense. Michigan needs playmakers. He is a playmaker, and he's not a bad blocker either. Despite being a wide receiver tight end hybrid, he's not the worst blocker in the world. He is going to be uber productive for that Michigan team. He's going to raise the floor immensely. He's going to be a security blanket for Underwood. I'm very excited for this, and he's my number 6.
So I have a tight end in my number 5, and it is not that guy.
Who do you got?
I got Luke Reynolds out of Penn State transferring to
Ah,
VT.
okay,
Again, like
okay.
what we talked about VT earlier in the episode with quarterbacks and like pulling a lot of those guys from Penn State. This was the biggest get that I saw them get from Penn State. This guy is a difference maker. He's more of an inline blocking tight end, but I see a lot of what Tyler Warren was doing a couple of years ago. How he was lined up in the backfield, how he's able to play inline tight end, play like more that wide receiver hybrid role. He is a guy that I think is going to have a great season for VT, and I really think they could slide into one of those top spots in the ACC, especially with Franklin there. I am very optimistic with VT this year, and I'm very hopeful that they do have the season that I hope they do.
Hokie's rising, man. You know what?
Hokies,
We've talked about him enough. Give me 1 second.
are you your Flip Wilson jersey?
That's crazy.
He was VT, right?
Who'd you say? You see Peyton Lindsay? Who'd you say?
No, Flip Wilson.
Yeah, I believe so. What a pull.
What a pull!
Go Hokies, baby. All right.
Hokies
Break
on
out the
top.
hat. Why not? We're
Hokies
finishing
on
up the pod
top.
with the Hokie on. Screw it. I don't like Virginia Tech. I love the hat. Who gives a fuck?
I don't like Virginia Tech. I love them.
I love I love Hokies. Me
We love
gusta
them.
hockey.
Okay, I'll let you move into your number
Okay.
5.
We might need to pop out of the Virginia Tech game this year. And if we actually get some serious momentum going, I'd have a pot at a oh my god, a pot at a tailgate. Ew.
How about a vlog?
Gross.
How about we vlog a ECU game this year?
Oh, you come down, you can see any ECU game. We'll buy a freaking flag and we'll fly it. It'll be awesome. But yes, I am not gonna have any more Virginia Tech guys, but I'm happy to have this hat on. It's a fashion statement. But with that said, my number 5 is Jordan Seaton, tackle from Colorado, transferring to LSU. This is a huge get for Levitt. This is a huge get. He was the number one.
Sorry, my dog's outside.
Please.
He's just staring at me. I don't
Hi,
know.
boy. This is the number one ranked tackle from last year's class. He committed to Colorado based on Coach Prime, but no offense to Colorado, but he's transferring to a real blue blood in LSU. He has the potential to be the number one tackle taken in 2 years. He has all the physicals. He's built like a brick shit house, genuinely. He's got mobility. He could use a little bit of refinement with his drop back. I will say he tends to fall a little bit. He falls for blocks. He falls for if you reach for his outside, you give him one quick move, he'll overreact and you can get right around him. But with that said, LSU has some of the best coaching in the country. This is a very raw guy, but a guy with serious potential to be the best tackle in the whole entire in the whole entire FCS, seriously. Or FBS, I'm sorry. I'm thinking about Richmond and North Dakota State and Villanova and UNH and And LIU, go Sharks, baby. Never forget. But, you know, all good stuff, but he does have the potential to be the best tackle in college football next year and to be a top 10 pick in 2 years. I'm seriously, he could be an absolute stalwart for LSU. He's a great get for Levitt, great get for this team. And yes, he's not the flashiest player, but man, is he a good one. So yeah, he's my number five.
Yeah, I'll
I figured we were
definitely
going to talk about him a little bit, but
a little bit.
okay.
I got a few more guys I want to bring up.
Really? You're
So at my number four, I have Damon Wilson the second.
funky, funky, funky.
I think he is going to fill the Mesidor Bain role very well. Miami does need pressure this year, and they did a great job grabbing this guy to replace. They are trying to build a dynasty in the ACC, and we've seen it done before. We've seen Florida State, we've seen Clemson. So I think Miami's going to be the next team to really pigeonhole themselves in that top end ACC role coming off a national championship. We got to see what it does. There is we mentioned a Super Bowl hangover from the Patriots, and we'll see what happens there. But there is a national championship hangover. There's so many teams that we see that just fall off a cliff the following year that are national championship guys, and it's less and less the more the transfer portal and NIL is becoming apparent because the top end teams are able to pay those guys. But I really am optimistic about Miami this year. And he, unlike the other guy you're probably going to mention later, he is a better pass rush specialist than he's not as gifted as the other guy you're going to mention later.
Well,
But
don't hit on my list. I'll be
his
talking about Wilson in a couple picks.
oh, you don't have the Ole Miss guy?
I got both of them.
Oh, you got both of them. Whoa.
Yeah, they're the two best pass
Whoa.
rushers by far. They
Yeah.
have serious SEC production. They are studs.
Yeah.
They would have been drafted
No.
this year if they were eligible. These are studs.
No, yeah. So I'm higher on Wilson than the other. I don't even have the other guy on my board just because.
You don't have Prince Will at all? Nine
No.
sacks at Ole Miss last year.
Yeah, but
What?
I didn't like his tape.
He was an SEC. What? Seriously, you don't have him on your list?
The tape didn't speak to me.
Okay, fair enough.
I didn't.
Each his own. Really?
I'll talk about him later when you
Okay.
bring him
All
up.
right, all right,
But
all right.
no, Damon Wilson just has a gross bag, very deep bag, and I do like the bendability of him. I like how he's able to play ball, get off pass blocks, and really make plays. And he does have SEC production. And going to the ACC, he's not going to be going against half the guys that we've seen that he's seen in the past. That game against Bama, and Bama is known for having some of the best recruits in the country. He balled out. I think he had 1.5 sacks that game, and I was very impressed by how well
Genuinely.
he played and how he got after Ty Simpson. So I'll let you move into your four.
Yeah, my number four is the guy that we just referenced a little bit, Prince Will Uman Milan from, transferring from Ole Miss to LSU. He had 9 sacks in 2025, and I don't really see the tape gaps as much. He's not as much of a super high upside guy that like is going to get drafted as, he doesn't really remind me of Zion Young, a guy that's coming out now with like crazy potential, but he has the production. He was a serious difference maker on that Ole Miss roster last season that made the semis. This rating is he's going into a great situation at LSU with they have excellent recruits, excellent coaching. They're going to develop what's left of him. But at the end of the day, he's not going to change his schedule much. He's going to have a relatively similar schedule to what he had at Ole Miss, and he put up 9 sacks last season. That's serious SEC production. Cassius Howell got drafted with he was a second rounder or first rounder, number 30. Taken, he has better production than Cassius Howell did this season. I'm very high on Prince Will. I think he's going to be a disruptor at LSU. He's going to play. And we've talked about so many LSU guys that it almost feels silly to not talk about them as contenders next season. That's how good they're going to
Yeah.
be. So
Yeah.
he's my number four.
No, and the reason I did not have him on my board is because I did not, and like this is me personally, like
Yeah.
seeing pass rush guys. He is an athletic freak. He is one of those guys that I see coming off the edge that you don't want to go against. But a lot of what he had was a lot of just free releases at the quarterback.
Even as a Kayvon Thibodeau. Oh,
Yeah, yeah, I see him more as like a guy that was getting free releases. Like I don't really see the bag that Damon Wilson has, and that's why I think he's up there. I just don't think he's in the top 10, and I don't know how much of a difference maker he's going to be. Especially, I saw what they did with Harold Perkins. Just he was a sixth rounder, seventh rounder, something like
yeah.
that this year,
Uh-huh.
and he was supposed to be
Yeah.
a
Perkins
first
got
round
phased out.
draft pick like a couple of years ago. And I just don't know how if they're going to mismanage what's going on at LSU. Obviously, with Kiffin there, it might be a little different, but yeah, just didn't really see what
Yeah.
why everyone was so high.
I love the physicals. I love the production. I do think that they're not going to phase him
The
out.
physicals are up. I just did not. The production felt forced almost.
Fair.
It felt
Not a
inflated
bad
almost,
evaluation.
and that's it. Just felt a little inflated in my
Yeah.
opinion.
There's a reason why I have Wilson higher. I do think he's a better player. He
Yeah,
has legitimate. He's
yeah.
he's great. He's. I'm not going to spoil my list, but who do you
Like
have number three?
number three is going to be Cam Coleman.
Fair.
Wide receiver, Auburn moving to Texas, and just to give Arch more options to succeed, this is really putting Texas in a spot to become a powerhouse in the SEC and really take that top spot from Georgia. You're pulling one of the best receivers from the SEC and bringing them onto your own team. And I am very, very high on him. He did give me a little bit of a Malik Neighbors vibe coming out, and just a lot of what he did. He knows how to get open, very fluent motion, very good route runner, but can make contested catches when needed. And I think, opposite of Ryan Wingo, I think this is going to be one of the best receiving corps in the country this year.
I agree. I think it's going to be awesome. He's also my number three, so I'm not going to spoil too much, but we've already kind of talked about him, I will say. But he had real production with a lackluster quarterback last season at Auburn, 700
Jackson
yards,
Arnold,
downs. Woo!
UNLV.
Shout out, shout out. But yes, I love him opposite of Wingo. I this is the season for Texas. Arch is gone after this season. They're lucky he's staying, frankly, because he would have been taken as the second quarterback this season. That I don't think anyone would have picked Ty Simpson over him. Maybe they would have. I don't think so, but maybe. I love this get for him. I see the neighbors a little bit. I'm not sure if I really liked neighbors, so but you can see the streaks 100%. Like I do see what you mean when you say that.
Yeah,
I see a little Jerry Judy
yeah,
personally, but I really like Coleman. These top three guys are very close for me. He could have been my number one. If any hell, to be honest, he was my number one in my list. And I decided that these two guys, I was mulling it over the film, and I just think they're going to be bigger difference makers. They're going to be features of the teams they're on next season. They are going to be the heads of their respective defenses. And I think Cam Coleman's going to be a great player at Texas, and he could step up and be their one, but he's going to be a complementary piece in an offensive system. That's why he's my number three.
yeah. That's fair. And that's why I have him a little bit lower, and why he's not my number one offensive player on my list.
Oh,
I
he is
have
my number
Jordan.
one offense player.
I have Jordan Seaton at number one.
Really?
I
Okay.
meant at number two. He's my number two, but he's my best offensive player I have. Transferring to LSU, you got to protect your quarterback. You're paying X amount of money to. I'm not sure how much he's getting, but if
Plenty.
Swarsby was getting 5 million, he's probably getting something like it, at least 4 million. And just to have a guy that could necessarily be the next cornerstone tackle going in the draft, I do think he's a first rounder just based on athleticism alone and going to LSU, who has coached up some very, very good offensive linemen in the past. I don't see why he can't be the next guy that's going to be protecting Sam Levitt this season, and I could see him in the league for 10 to 15 years after that. I'm very, very high on this guy, and this was a huge get for LSU. I really like what they're doing, and they're not really focusing on running back and receiver as much, but they're more fixated on really building up from the interior and defensive side of the ball and just kind of focusing more on that which I really like what they're doing. And you did mention he was a bit raw. I had him at my number two. I didn't think he was as raw as you did, but to get the best offensive lineman in the portal at a school that just lost the guy to to Ole Miss, that's a
He's a
pretty
great
damn good.
replacement. He's a better player than Kern, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Straight up, and he's definitely a better prospect. I really like Seaton, honestly. 5 is not disrespectful. I don't mean that at all.
No, no, no. No,
Damn,
and like a lot of these guys are interchangeable, and there's a lot of guys we did not even share on our boards.
tell us if you guys want us to make a top 100. We'll be the reference. No one else makes them. We'll be the list. We'll just make a website. It'll be fun. We're not gonna do that. That sounds like a lot of
We could
work.
do that. That
We
sounds
could
gruesome, but
low
we could do
key. It would be gruesome, but
We already
speaking
got
of
our we already got our Memorial Day conference realignment segment.
yes, that's gonna be really fun. We are gonna have a live one, and we have Bordy. So I'm thinking we should probably film that morning while we're
You
pre-gaming.
can't guarantee that. There's nothing in writing yet.
We're having our own Bordy if they don't. I swear to God, I will have everyone over. I will have 40 people over, and we will drink in my backyard. I don't care. Like it'll be fun.
Yeah, can we just get 10 kegs of Coors? We'll be
I
fine.
would like to get some real kegs, like genuinely.
Yeah, I would love to just collect them and just keep them
Yes,
in the
imagine
day.
like a keg bar that you got a bar built of kegs, and then you have like a nice wooden table on
I
top.
realistically could build a bar in my backyard, but
If you want a project this summer, you just let me know. But
maybe we'll set one up at your.
we could make a crowbar. Ooh, that's tough. And it ended up falling through, which is brutal. But it sucks because the guy, it's literally just the guy. It was his problem. I was fully on board, and then he just messaged me and said somebody gave him a full cash offer, and I can't beat that. It's just I can give a good offer, I just can't pay sticker. That's stupid. I'm not paying sticker. Like you don't pay sticker for shit. Stupid. But whatever. Let's
Anyways,
all right, so my number two, and these guys are very tight for me, but I'm gonna go. I'm actually gonna go against my gut here, just because how much I love the other guy. I'm gonna go Damon Wilson at my number two. You talked about him, so I'm not gonna touch on it too much. He reminds me a lot of Akeem Mesidor, actually. I think he's gonna fill in pretty similar for where he played in that Miami offense. I mean, that Miami defense, but he had serious production at Missouri last season. A very strong defense at that. 9 sacks and real sacks. I mean, they're genuine pressures, and he had plenty of solo tackles. I really like Damon Wilson. You talked about him, so I'm not gonna I won't just completely dissect him, but I really like it. I really think he's going to be a face of this Miami defense next season. He's going to be a big determination or a big determiner on whether they pop next season or whether they drop. I think if he has a real season and he could have, we've seen it in in this defense. They have other guys on that roster, obviously. If he is able to play across for some dudes that can work as well, he can climb into the double digit sacks. It would not surprise me if he has double digit sacks next season, especially in an easier conference. He's playing against worse offensive linemen. Not even to not surprise me, he should go for double digit sacks next season. I think that's a very fair projection.
yeah,
And that's huge out of a guy in the transfer portal. And it's only because I'm so high on this next guy that he doesn't get the number one spot. And I
and
wonder if you even know who this guy is personally. But like you know who he is, but if you could
you
actually,
wonder if I had him at one.
I have him at one. He's my one. He's my
Okay,
overall best player besides the quarterbacks, just because I love his potential.
let's go by position first. We'll do it like this. So we're gonna do like three, two, one. Guess the position.
Okay, so you
Mention.
guessing? Are you guessing first?
No, no, three, two, one. We're gonna try to time it up. Let's see if we can get it.
I'm wondering if you have. Who is your guy? Is it the same dude? Unless it's JJ Buchanan. I don't think it is. All right. So 3, 2, 1, and then answer.
Yeah, three. Wait, are
Two
we answering the guy or position?
position.
Okay,
All right.
three, two,
2, 1.
one.
Safety.
Do
No
we?
way we both got Coy. Are we that high on him? Let's
Yeah.
go! I love it. I love it. What a tool. We're both talking about this one now. What a
I'll,
tool
I'll,
player.
I'll,
Everywhere.
I'll,
Anywhere you
I'll,
need him to go.
I'll let you go first. I'll let you go first because I've been speaking first on most of these guys. So I'll let you.
That's
Take the
okay.
keys on this one.
Oh, I love Coy. He is an absolute demon. He's gonna slot in for Dylan Thieneman, and he's genuinely a better player than Dylan. And we were super high of him coming out because he played everywhere for Minnesota this season. He was on defense. He had 39 tackles, two pass deflections, and an interception. But it's not just the stats that pop off. He seriously is a patrolman on top. And it's not just that, but he played offensive snaps last season. He was a predominant kick and punt returner last season. He has special teams time. He is a full tool player, and it's because he is so athletic. He is an insane athlete. He's one of the best athletes in college football right now. He is a huge get for this Oregon team. He's going to carry that defense, and I hope he's kick returning. I hope he's punt returning. I hope they use him as a tool player on offense. That's how good he is. And I'll keep going a little bit, but you go now. All right.
Yeah, so that again, very much a theme in Phil. And quarterback of your defense, you don't necessarily need them to be the best player on the field, but that he is. He will be the best player on the field. They lost both their safeties this year with Canada going, I forget where he went. I think he went to the Chiefs. But to have both your safeties go and then to possibly get the best safety in college football right now, it was a steal. And Minnesota, like we knew he was entering the portal, and we were hoping all our teams got him. But for Oregon to not have one of the necessarily best classes, but to get a guy that's going to be a difference maker, that is worth its weight in gold. This guy is going to be that striker role on that Oregon defense, and he is going to be all over the field making plays. I in all caps, I literally wrote versatile. There's not a thing that this guy can't do. Like he is.
Underline stud. Just
Yeah, no,
STUD.
no. I have like
Something
versatile,
to
and,
put
and
down.
next to it, I just literally have like what a player. Like I literally
He's a
just wrote what a
dog,
player.
man.
Like he is the guy that you want
Yes.
running like quarterbacking your defense. He's the guy you want doing as much as possible for your team just because of how impactful he was at Minnesota. Minnesota had no business being one of the better teams in the Big Ten last year. Not that they were one of the best teams, but they were on the
They're
north. I
hanging
believe
around.
they were
No
on the north
offense.
side of
Respect to them. They're
average.
hanging around. I've been
They're
hanging
hanging
around
around.
this town.
I saw them in concert. It was very good.
We love the Crows. Dude,
Love
that
the-
Spin Doctors CD today, my face lit up. I was like, oh, Spin Doctors?
To Prince Azuki.
Little
Honestly,
Miss can't be wrong.
I did notice this that a lot of 2000s rock bands do reference Superman a lot, and it's really cool. And I didn't realize that till today.
They love kryptonite, man. They
Yeah.
love the word kryptonite.
Yeah.
It is a big Man of Steel. You hear a lot.
Yeah. And one last thing I'm going to say, Coy Parrish has no kryptonite. This guy is going to be the next generational safety going in the draft. That's how high I am on him. He necessarily won't be Travis Hunter, but he does have flashes of being great on both sides of the ball. And the fact that Travis Hunter was able to do it, and that's more the reason why he went to Minnesota, because if he just came out as a pure safety, I think he would have went to a bigger school.
Funnily enough, he reminds me of Jabril Peppers. That's probably my comp to him, just because of his tool player ability. He's one
Yeah,
of the better kick returners and punt returners I've seen at least
yeah.
last season.
No, no, and like the thing is, you don't necessarily want your guys doing everything. You don't want them getting
Sure,
tired out.
sure.
But when you have a guy like this that can move like he does and make plays like he does on both sides of the ball, it is hard to keep him off the field.
Yeah, but I love it. That's consensus. Really, I like it.
Senses. Yeah,
Damon Wilson is going to have a big impact next season. Like he should
I,
be staple 10 sacks minimum. Like I genuinely believe that, which is
yeah, I like Seaton a lot. I just think he's going to help that LSU
he's a good
offense
beast. Yeah.
more than anyone, more like as much as Levitt will.
Yeah. But don't sleep. Like I genuinely thought about putting him higher. I love JJ Buchanan this year. He's gonna
Yeah,
be he's gonna be the best or at least the most used player on that Michigan offense next season. He should be a safety
I
blanket.
think so. I'm just not as high on Michigan.
No, it's fair.
I think they're at the point where they got a
They
new
do,
coach.
man.
I think it's gonna take a year of adjustments for that to really
Fair
pan out.
enough. Fair enough. I agree. All right, an hour 50, not too bad.
Yeah, not too bad. Honestly, we went through a bunch of players again.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
No,
No,
we just keep naming guys. It does not matter.
yeah. No, that Flip Wilson reference was one of my better
Flip
pulls that I've had.
Wilson.
Yeah. No, that was because I was like, I don't know, I was doing this thing where they were like players that went like Giants first rounders or something like that. I
Yeah.
was like looking through them and I'm like, 2012 running back, who could that be? I was
David Wilson. Yeah.
like,
Mr. Flip. I think he's probably up there with my favorite Hokies. I like Tremaine Edmonds a lot. I really like Edmonds. I loved Edmonds so much coming out. He's just
yeah, I
what
thought he was
happened
going
to
to
the
stay.
Giants? I mean, I wore 49 in college because of him. That's how much I like Tremaine Edmonds. Like seriously.
Yeah, no, they've had some dudes. Yeah.
Oh wow, my back. I say it every single pod. I can't wait till I move into my new place because I'm gonna get a real chair. I can't
Yeah.
keep recording in this stupid. I don't even know. It's not even a kitchen chair. It doesn't deserve that. Like it's like a fucking. It's literally just a cuck chair. It just sits in the corner. It's a goddamn cuck chair, bro. Like look at that shit. Cuck chair. Like I don't under my records and next to my Indo board. Like it's a cuck chair.
Yeah, no, it really is. I'm very happy I actually have an office chair. It's very helpful for when I have to do schoolwork,
Not
which I
bad.
probably should
I got a
do.
quick pickup baseball game to play after this, but then I'm good to go. So
Do you actually?
no, I have to. I wish. That's what the jersey's on for. I have to write a teacher advocacy proposal final draft. I've almost finished it. I did a rough finishing up, but this is a rough week. I can't lie, but I'm almost there. I'm done on the 6th. That's my last final I have to proctor for my kids. So once they're done with that, but I told you, okay, this was kind of funny. That I'm literally proctoring my final exam. I'm walking around the class making sure no one's cheating, and no one's cheating. But this little blonde tatted chick is just ripping Miami Mint Geek Bar the whole time, bro. Like I swear. And it was like after like rip 6, I stopped. Like I was just like, wow, good for you, man. Like it was just because what am I really gonna like call you out? Like no, I'm not gonna do that. I'm jealous. I want a little smacky poo. Like
Yeah.
please. But no, it was almost funny because I was like, can I say something? Like I don't want to say something personally. But like, do I have to? And the answer was no, no. You
No.
can be Miami Mint. I don't care. People were taking them in AirPods, and I don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
Listen to
No.
music, bro. I don't. I hate it
Yeah.
when teachers would tell me to take them out. Like, I hate that shit.
Yeah, like if you have someone on call, like if you're calling someone asking for the answers and stuff, like that's
What is it, old school? Fuck, you got that?
yeah, no, like
You listening in? Ah.
yeah.
But yes, that is
Fun.
today's podcast. When do you want to release this? Do you want to? I could
I
drop
like
it
the I like the Sunday schedule. I'm a big proponent of that. But it really depends on your availability, what
No,
works
I
best.
mean that's the upload. Once we record, it's all pretty simple from there.
And
I do like the Sunday schedule as well, especially if we could like genuinely every Sunday it comes out, which we've been doing pretty
yeah,
well actually. I think we have 3 Sundays in a row now.
yeah, no, we've done a very, very good job with that.
Sweet.
And
Oh,
I think I think keeping it Sunday might be the move. It's a great way to like wake up and have coffee and
okay.
listen to the pod. I really love that.
Yeah.
And um, yeah, no, I'm down for every Sunday if it works well for you. We'll see how it goes in the summer.
Yeah.
Based on our schedules and stuff like
That's
that.
not too bad. I mean, as long as you record once a week and then and once we're like in the same place, then
Yeah.
it's super easy. We can record wherever. Like I said, we could use the treehouse. We could use the fucking magic treehouse, bro. I swear. But whatever, it works.
Um, do you have any ideas for the next episode? What you're feeling?
It's a good question. So we could start like we talked about a little bit fantasy drafts, not like pure fantasy, but we could do some type of draft episode where like we have like a pool of players from like let's say we could I don't know, we could it depends if we want to do it low key because there's so many options. But like I'm thinking some type of style where we just go back and forth with picks and like you're just pulling
Yeah.
guys.
Honestly, we could do like a 10-man league.
Like, we could really do like a 2010s all 2010s 2 teams. Or we could just do fantasy teams. Like, yes, we could also do you take 5 teams, I take 5 teams, and then we draft. It's an option.
That would be a lot, though.
Nah, it
It
would
wouldn't
be,
be
but
that bad.
really, I would just screen share and then just we draft. I wonder how that would be, low key.
Yeah, no, we could do that. We can also do. Um, I do like the 2010s idea. I'm a big fan of that. Honestly, I think we could just go name some guys. Like, I think we go by. I think me and you go and draft 2 teams. So, I've seen this from a few other podcasts where they do based on division. So, like, they'll do like AFC East 2010s draft, and we just go back and forth, and whoever gets
I like
hit,
that.
like,
We could refine it like that because a part of me goes, oh, 2010s, we can just name guys and whoever's going to have the best team. But I'm
yeah.
fine with doing divisions. That's cool by me. If anything, that opens it up a little bit.
Yeah, because we could go through each division. I don't think it's going to be longer than like 5, 10 minutes for each person. I meant, yeah, for each of us to go.
Do you want to do decades though? Or do you want to just, what are we thinking? Just all time?
We do fantasy outlook this season. We could do all
Oh,
time.
well, I want to do fantasy outlook by division, of course. Like that separates it pretty easily. That means those episodes are probably an hour and a half apiece. Maybe an
Yeah,
hour if we're flying, but most teams should take longer than an hour. Like for like pure team outlook, because I think then at that point we're gonna probably sit down and project the whole entire schedule, so
yeah,
every episode correlates to have like this is exact. Just we don't want the math to be off, so I'm down for that. We got to sit down and do it, but like
yeah,
just to project, that means we need to look at every team's schedule and pick every single game for the season. Which I
yeah.
think is
Well,
doable, like genuinely.
yeah, I'm looking for more like possible like fantasy outlook, like breaking it by division and just picking like what guys were
That's cool. We could do
highest.
that as well.
Yeah, because I think if we break it by division, I meant by conference, it's going to take.
Yeah, those aren't episodes. There's no way we're able to do an NFC NFC fantasy outlook. We have 140 guys. Okay,
Yeah.
I'm down with division. Then you're talking 10
Or,
guys.
or we mentioned this on the last one a little bit about like our top rookie guys.
Yeah, we could do a rookie impacts. I like that.
Yeah, we could do our top rookie
What do top 10?
producers.
We could just do top 10 overall impact, like first year rookies. Just who we our top 10 best guys, whether it's quarterbacks or we can stay away from the quarterbacks because I just don't think
I,
Mendoza is going to be relevant.
I think there's only I think he's still an impact player, but I don't
Well, I don't know. Then we have to scale it because, like, where do you put him? Like, he probably, for me, would peg in right in front of, maybe right behind, like, KC Concepcion and right behind Boston. Like, within that, like, 7 range, I
yeah,
suppose.
that's kind of where I have him
I
too. On my,
guess. I don't, it's like my,
yeah.
where my head goes, but
I don't know. We'll figure
yeah,
out
I'm
some
pretty down
ideas.
for that. We could also do top 5 for position for those players.
That's fair.
Or
Yeah, I
just
agree.
top 15, super flex. I don't know.
Yeah, yeah, we could do something like that. Really
We'll talk
depends
about it.
on what we're feeling. Yeah,
We
I'm
should
also.
also we should probably start putting out PR. So I'll if we want to make like a visual, like maybe tomorrow I'll put out, okay, this episode's coming out on Sunday, and maybe we should
Yeah,
start doing that. Because I find that our when I post ahead of time, our interaction ends up being better.
yeah,
Like one episode is like 50 views and one is like 8, so you can kind of tell. But
yeah. So yeah, I mean, if you could post it about it, or like,
yeah. The clips are annoying. I hate posting the clips. Like that shit, it almost like pisses me off a little bit. Like I told you, it just feels performative. Like I'm
yeah,
here to record a podcast with my boy. Like I'm not here to fucking become a TikTok
like farm.
dancer. Like no, I almost hate people that do that. Then again, it's 4 hour podcast. So we can do whatever the fuck we want. Like, and we can say whatever the hell we want.
Jizz.
Huge cum shot through the wall.
What?
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 I thought we were about to say what we want.
Not trying to ruin anyone's day. Oh, all right.
Eggs and bush. What?
You want to wrap it up before we get
Yeah, I
in?
think that's all we got. All right, y'all. Thank you for listening today. We are
Yeah,
so happy to have you. And y'all have a good rest of your Sunday, ballers.
yeah.
Peace.
Have a great one.
Peace.